games on this list. Super Smash Bros? What is that?
Oh,
Jesus.
that game.
Zack! You can't sneak up on me like that!
Geez, sorry. I just got here to return this.
Oh, thanks. Just leave it on the coffee table. We'll handle it later.
Will do. Anyway, do you need some help?
Yeah, I feel like I'm out of my element with this one. I'm trying to create a competitive meta, but I know jack and shit about making my own. Especially with a game that I don't even believe had one at all.
Alright, we can research the game together. I'll handle the nitty-gritty of the meta, and you can focus on the script and the editing. Sound like a plan?
Alright, sounds good. By the way, what is this Super Smash Bros?
Let me give you the rundown.
Okay, so from my understanding, Super Smash Bros. Was a shitpost game created in 2015 by ComJ. It gained popularity when Vinny of Vinesauce fame played it, giving it a rather notorious reputation. ComJ eventually paid tribute to this by adding one of Vinny's characters, Sponge, to the game in an update. The game was originally hosted on ComJ's website, which is unfortunately inactive, but copies can be found on itch.io or the Internet Archives. Links to both can be found in the description. Now, the way you play this thing is pretty interesting. Players can use a keyboard or controllers to play. There's no AI to this game, both characters are controlled by human players, which means you need friends, otherwise you'll just be sitting here like a dope questioning your life choices. But wait, hold on a second. Unless we use something like Parsec, how the hell are we gonna play this game? I don't think either of us want to spend hours on this thing just to create our own meta, right?
Don't worry about it. I just texted the others, and they're already on their way here.
Alrighty, competitive Smash Bros. Let's go!
Wait, don't you mean Smash?
Nope, no typos here.
Oh. Each character in the game can move left, right, jump, cut their jump short by pressing down, use normal attacks, use special move, taunt, and that's it. But don't be fooled by its simplicity and looks. It has some hidden tech that can turn you from a zero to a hero rather quickly, such as if you're using keyboard controls, hold both the left and right movement buttons simultaneously, and then release the button corresponding to the direction you're facing. Your character will then, moonwalk, which will allow you to shoot projectiles while retreating and even perform reverse edge guards. This works because pressing left or right changes your character's orientation, while holding the direction makes them move. I mean, it sounds pretty smart-assy, but bear with me. The holding action alone does not update your character's orientation. For example, if you're moving right, you can initiate a moonwalk by briefly tapping left while still holding right. Unfortunately, it's not really possible to do this on controller without using a special program that maps controller inputs to key inputs. Not being able to access this technique might actually make controllers less viable. I mean, it's less viable in other ways, but more on that later. Unlike the real Smash titles, getting hit does not stop your ability to move, jump, or even attack. Like, at all. You might think this lack of hit stun would mean combos are non-existent, and you'd be right in thinking that, but that's far from the truth because of a lack of defensive options. Aside from one character's special move. More on that later. This means combos are super common. The main difference here is that both players can just combo each other simultaneously. Being able to act while being launched creates unique techniques and strategies, like because there is absolutely no hit stun in this game, you can freely move left or right while being launched. This could be compared to directional influence in the official Smash titles, but there's a significant difference here. In Smash Bros, your character's speed affects how far they will be launched horizontally, which is why speed is emphasized. For example, a fast character will have a high horizontal endurance, when done correctly, but SDIing in the wrong direction could literally spell disaster no matter who you play as. It is important to mention that speed directional influence does not affect the vertical portion of your knockback, which is where this comes in. This technique was discovered by YouTube user BigRed5321, and to make it super simple, it can be described as two players just spamming their attacks while SDIing into each other, causing them to both move upwards due to the vertical knockback that cannot be SDI'd as if they were being lifted by a cyclone. Cyclone battles will often end with one player getting KO'd off the top blast zone with the other just barely surviving, so it is a high-risk, high-reward option for both players. Sound familiar? Eventually, the horizontal knockback might become too strong for slower characters to continue cycloning with their melee attacks, so they might want to end their Cyclone combos with a special projectile move. And since speed directional influence plays a key role here, faster characters can Cyclone more aggressively thanks to their higher horizontal endurance. Good God. In terms of legal stages, we have 6 stages compared to the official Smash games, which are notoriously lacking in variety.
That's not saying much, since most stages consist of only one platform, with an occasional extra added in. But whatever.
Honestly, I'm kind of fine with the visual variety. But anyway, we have Battlefield, Final Destination, Bridge of Eden, Brilliant Game, Smashville, which I feel like should have just been called Smashville, but whatever, and Dreamland. Yeah, that's kind of it, really.
These next 2 sections were compiled by me, and Jade was able to make it a bit more readable for his future self, who has to edit this video. To keep it short, Sonic is the fastest, duh. Luigi has the highest jump, with Joshi having the best double jump, and Shulk has the highest damage output. His jab alone does 13%. Damn, most jab-ups don't even have that kind of output. Kebe can copy specials and has so many jumps.
In terms of the tier list and the meta, not taking into consideration specific matchups, every theoretical tier list places only 3 fighters in the top spot: Sonic, Shulk, and Fex. The others are kind of shuffled around like a goddamn slot machine. It is important to note that there are only 5 theoretical tier lists here. I mean, it could have been more, but you know, the footage speaks for itself. Matchup spread, on the other hand, is a completely different story. I mean, look at this spread. Goddamn. If we take that into consideration, there would only be 2 fighters in the S tier: Sonic and Shulk.
The future of 20XX will likely be
very fast.
Most of that was theoretical, however. What if we actually put all of this into practice? Well, let me show you a combo video as if we were in 2014. Okay, I think I made my point. During the session, we noticed some little quirks that the game has, most of them stemming from controllers. For example, holding the button mashes the attack for you, and you can press both of them down at the exact same time. There's no dead zone set for the analog sticks, meaning the cursor will sometimes fly off to Bangladesh and never return your calls. The game will instantly spawn you back in if you die, meaning if you're not paying attention, you could accidentally fall off the stage like whoop! You have to exit the game in order to reset the stock number because you can't manually change them in-game. Unless that was a controller issue, then whoops. The mouse is needed in order to get back to the menus after winning, and the keyboard controls for both players are just... what in the fuck? In terms of legal stages, we have Battlefield, FD, Dreamland, and Brilliant Game. That's it. The rest are either banned or could be decent counter picks. In terms of stocks, if you want the game to be less than 30 seconds, you go with 3 stocks. If you want games to be a little longer, go with the maximum number allowed by the game. Keep in mind you won't be able to see past 3 stocks in a match, so you better keep count before the game does that for you. Now, I know what you're thinking. What's the final tier list then? Well, strap in. This is gonna get interesting. Starting with the S tier, we have the only fighter here, Fex. His special is essentially a second melee attack that reflects projectiles, meaning most fighters are going to have a very miserable time approaching him. And more often than not, the game will derail into happy slaps, especially when Ditto matches are involved. He definitely has the potential to be banned. Next up, we have the A+ tier, which includes Sonic and Shulk. Sonic, of course, is the fastest fighter in the game, and arguably has the best projectile. It has a large hitbox and is very versatile, and it serves as a tool for landing, something that the other fighters really don't have. Shulk is definitely one of the more powerful fighters in the game, and his projectile can detonate, and it has a stupidly generous hitbox. The A tier is rather lonely, with Joshi occupying it. He's the only non-projectile user in this tier, relying instead on disjointed melee attacks. This gives him favorable matchups against some characters, even some top tiers, and he boasts the best double jump in the game, providing him with an impressive movement option. B tier includes Lonk, Meiro, and Lugi. Lonk wields a boomerang with a trajectory that demands respect, and if Fax is banned, he could actually be higher up in the rankings. Meiro has a unique projectile trajectory that can be thrown twice, and this also applies to Lugi as well, whose projectiles are not affected by gravity, unlike Meiro's. However, like Joshi, he can easily self-destruct if not careful near the blast zone. Magamen, Nest, Pikachu, and Sponge are all in C tier due to their basic-ass projectiles. Aside from their speed, yeah, they don't really stand out that much. There is another tier list that I have where Sponge and Pikachu are actually lower on the tier list, but yeah, we can go with either this or that. I don't know, whichever one's more entertaining, I guess. And finally, Kibei is in D tier. Yeah, he's considered the worst fighter in the game. His only good matchup is, I think, against Meiro, thanks to the projectile that he can acquire. A case that could be made for Sonic as well, but he can easily outrun him. He does have multiple jumps, but unless you use the keyboard or do something that I like to call the hacker man, where you use both the keyboard and controller simultaneously, he's pretty much unplayable because he can't use his special when playing on controllers thanks to that mashing quirk I mentioned earlier. The only reason you'd pick him is for mirror matches or you really hate yourself. That's it. So let's answer the real question here. Is it a good idea to turn this Reddit shitpost into a competitive game that can be played at EVO? After talking about it with the boys, the answer is a very clear-cut, unanimous, oh dear God, no. It is not that deep mechanically, and 9 times out of 10, the game is literally just happy slaps no matter who you play as. Plus, with 3 fighters as the meta, it is bound to get stale and eat itself like some sort of twisted Ouroboros. So yeah, no. It is not a good idea. Hey, thanks for the help, you guys. I really do appreciate it.
Anytime,
You're
pals.
very, very well.
What are friends for, right?
So, you guys want to help me get through this list?
I don't
know about that.
So, what do you think? I liked it, man.
Really?
Really? If this is what I can expect from the full series, then you know what? Go nuts.
Yes! Thank you so much! I'm gonna go work on the next episode right now!
He's really gonna work on the next episode, isn't he?